Hi, I'm Chris Overstreet, and I have opinions. If you haven't been watching the news over the past week, you may be surprised to know that we are about to go to war with Venezuela. I mean, not just shooting up boats in the Atlantic and Pacific, but actually bombing and maybe even invading Venezuela. Lindsey Graham, who, as we all know, is the ultimate Republican stooge to whatever strongman is coming along. He was best buddies with, what's his face? McCain, John McCain, that's right. Don't know why I blanked to that name. Best buddies kissing up to John McCain while he was alive, then switched over to Donald Trump. He's just looking for somebody to be best buds with. And so, of course, he's carrying Donald Trump's water, reporting that lawmakers are going to be briefed on potential Venezuelan land attack. Briefed as in, no, we're not asking for permission to do it. We're not asking for a declaration of war or authorization of authority. We're just going to do it. This is what we're going to do. Thought you'd like to know. And also, a few days ago, it was announced that any U.S. military officials who are going to be involved in the Atlantic or Caribbean theaters, who might be involved in any way with the shooting up of fishing boats or smuggling boats or whatever they are, we'll never know because the evidence has never been produced. They've got to sign non-disclosure agreements in order to keep their jobs. What does that tell me? Well, it tells me that, they're getting ready to, at the very least, start bombing the shit out of Venezuela. Is this going to go so far as a land invasion? Hard to tell right now. The thing is, Donald Trump would very much rather not get the army involved in a land war any place because he has plans for that army here at home. But on the other hand, he also desperately wants to get rid of the current dictatorship in Venezuela and replace it with his own preferred dictatorship. Boy. Bear in mind that, do I have that up in a condition to where it can be... Let's have a quick look here. I didn't plan this. There we go. You might remember earlier in the month that the Nobel Committee chose the person who won and was denied the presidency in Venezuela in the last election they claimed to have held there, gave her the Nobel Peace Prize instead of Donald Trump, and made a big deal about upholding democracy being of vital importance. The thing is, this woman is a huge Trump fan. And so far as anybody's able to tell, the only reason she cares about democracy is if it would work for her. She figures she won the election, and to be perfectly honest, she probably did. But once she gets in, she has no objection to Trump shooting up as many Venezuelans as he likes, put it that way. And in an interview over at NPR, which I happened to catch live, that's the wrong, here we go. Yeah, she went on to say, I'm looking forward to Trump liberating my country, and then we're going to go on to Colombia, we're going to go on to Brazil, we're going to go on to Cuba. Yeah, this is not exactly a champion of peace and democracy we're talking about here. And the thing is, Maduro, the strongman currently in charge in Venezuela, he's not going to go without a fight. And if they start bombing Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, he's just going to take to the jungle. And he'll have to be pried out. Right now, Venezuela has barely a Coast Guard's worth of a Navy. They have a little bitty Air Force, which is probably not in flyable condition. So long as the U.S. Navy stays well into international waters, Venezuela can't really touch them. And it's very likely that within a day or so, carrier-based aircraft would be able to take out any air defenses the country has. But once America puts boots on the ground, actual infantry in Venezuela, then Venezuela can shoot back, and they can make it a complete quagmire. The country is half jungle. There is actually a lot of mountain and pasture land and farms there, but the terrain is great for defense once you get away from the main population centers. And if Maduro wants to, the odds are very good he can make it a long, long fight, even against us. And while Donald Trump does not want another Vietnam, this time on his watch, he also does not like it when he can't get what he wants. So I'd say odds about 50-50 that we will end up in a land war in Venezuela at this point. We'll have to wait and see. But as far as bombing Venezuela, yeah, that's a given. It's going to happen in the next week or two. But that's not really the important thing, is it? The important thing is that we are going to be at war with another country, which might just give Donald Trump the excuse he and his backers have been drooling for to declare martial law here at home. Bear in mind that ever since Project 2025 came out, anybody who's been paying attention has already known that the plan of the Trump and the MAGA movement is to eliminate democracy in the United States. Not just eliminate the Democratic Party, but make it complete one-party rule where any elections we have, the outcome will be predetermined in advance. That line brought to you by the Department of Redundancy Department. And the biggest problem he's had is that the U.S. military, not the National Guard, the actual standing Army and Navy, have been less than cooperative with his plans to send in regular Army forces into the cities to match Trump's emergencies. And, oh, by the way, this is going before the Supreme Court right now, and Donald Trump's official position on this is that only the president can decide whether or not an emergency exists, and neither Congress nor the judiciary can say anything about it. This is as good as saying Donald Trump can send in the troops whenever he likes, can declare war whenever he likes, can do whatever he likes. And he's trying to set up the military to be his enforcers of that theory. So, what happens when we start at war with Venezuela? Well, you can bet that any anti-war protests are going to be watched very carefully for the slightest excuse that would allow Donald Trump or Stephen Miller or any of his other lieutenants to order a violent crackdown on all protests in this country. I'll have a follow-up video on that in a day or two. Keep an eye out for that. But long story short, we're looking at a war which is only partially about regime change. And by the way, I've seen a couple of reports that over the Sunday news shows, Lindsey Graham came out with it and said that they're talking about Venezuela becoming the 51st state now. Sorry, Greenland. Sorry, Canada. We're not in love with you anymore. It's Venezuela now. They've got more oil. Yeah, we'll see how that pans out. But in the meantime, yeah, it's gonna get worse. So, enjoy Afghanistan 2.0, everybody. I'm Chris Overstreet, and I have opinions.